close the bar down.
That's right.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear Friday in there.
All right, this question here comes from Ryan Johnson, and it's kind of a much anticipated one. Were you able to see the Tony Stewart and Ernie Francis incident from the SRX race where Smoked seemed to be irate with Ernie? Of course, they raced at South Boston this past weekend.
Yeah, so I saw the video of him pretty upset with Ernie, and then the comments about Uncle Tony and how there were 3 Cup guys on the podium and that these other guys need to figure it out. They did a lot of damage to those cars. I know those guys will be working really hard at trying to get those cars ready again. So my reaction to it was, doesn't Tony invite these guys to race this race?
That's right. Doesn't he have to say so? Which, by the way, I think so, and I love it even more because of that, right?
Okay.
I mean, things that are awkward for normal people are just not awkward for Tony, right? You know what I mean?
Right. That's true. So, like, when I saw – we had Ernie in here, right?
Yeah. Ernie this year.
He's a
good kid.
Great kid.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine ever being that. Even if I was that angry with him, I'd never be like, hey, you.
Yeah, he's so cute and young and innocent. Like, what are you gonna do? You can't get mad at him.
Oh man.
I mean, he had him by the back of the neck and was holding him by
right.
the suit. But the favorite thing is I think they went to commercial. Like, it happened. They got some of it. They came out of commercial. And then they had a Tony interview. Oh, yeah. And Tony was like, yeah, we're good. We talked it out. It was almost like they just went to the bar and had a beer together.
But
like, they were good. Everything was fine. Like, it's quality, but the comedic part of everything that took place in that series is just, like, between Paul Tracy and Michael threatening to dump someone. Yeah. It's entertainment.
It's entertainment.
It's for sure.
I think that they absolutely turned the knob up a little bit for the show. And I think not that Tony's frustration with Ernie was all an act, but I think that they absolutely just let it go. Like, whatever emotion they're having, they just let it out, let it run, because it needs to be entertaining. They can't just show up and run a race and go home, right? It's a TV show. Mm-hmm. All right. CBS expects them to deliver. I think that when they got done, they probably thought, yeah, we probably don't need to do this much physical damage to the cars. We do have to get them back on the racetrack in a very short period of time. But otherwise, I didn't watch the whole thing, but it absolutely checked all the big boxes in entertainment, for what they're aiming for. And so part of me, I know that Tony was genuinely angry, but part of me also thinks that it was a lot of the things that happen are for the show, right? Like, Michael's frustrations and all the guys, Paul Tracy and the way Paul like that every day? I doubt it.
No, I think he
he is.
He is.
If you go back and watch old videos and old interviews and stuff like that,
my point is that I think they're encouraged.
Oh, for sure.
To animate their natural reactions a little bit. Go ahead.
I'd love to sit in on a driver's meeting.
Oh, I was in the driver's meeting this past week. I went there with my little guy, and Tony kind of took over the driver's meeting. But I'll say this. That was the grumpiest I've ever seen Tony Stewart in a while. And he carried it through the heat races.
All day?
All day.
Yeah.
And
why was he grumpy?
I don't know. It was hot out, all that. But I'll tell you what, even in Victory Lane, there was fans mouthing things off through the fence, and he was chirping back at him. Somebody even said, I want Dale Jr. And he was like, I want him too. Blah, blah, blah. He was vintage Tony. He was fiery. I had to explain to my little 6-year-old, like, hey, that Tony just didn't understand when he gets out of the race car, he's just really fiery, because he was watching the whole thing like this, and I didn't want him to have a bad opinion of Tony,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's a firecracker.
I miss him. I miss him in our sport so bad. Like, God, I didn't appreciate him when he was here as much as I unfiltered and overweight and talented.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I say overweight in that it makes him unique, because now everybody's got to be fit and,
jockeys
cycling with Jimmy Johnson or whatever. It's like, whatever. Tony is the anti-establishment guy. That's what Tony is. He's the anti-establishment guy. And, man, But weren't we better off with him?
I think
he's that guy.
There was a quote from him somewhere that made me laugh where he was like, yeah, I was only good halfway through the season and passed because I didn't work out like the rest of these guys. So when Daytona came around, it took me to half season to get back in shape. And then I was good about halfway season and on.
I just think, man, like, hey, be a little easier on your guests that you invited to the show.
Not me.
You're not going to grab anyone's neck?
One.
Yeah.
No. Rough them up, man.
So if you...
Rough up them kids. Spank them.
So if you get invited to Mike's house for a party, you got to be okay with